Question number 1. Which of the following Paleolithic sites in India provide clear archaeological evidence of ash layers indicating that early humans were familiar with the use of fire? And our option is Bhimbetka, Hunsgi, Kurnool Caves and Mehergarh. And our answer is Kurnool Caves. I have detailed explanation of why our answer is Kurnool Cave. Okay, let's see what is it. Why it's correct. Traces of ash have been excavated by archaeologists at the Kurnool Cave in Andhra Pradesh. This yields irrefutable evidence that Paleolithic humans were systematically using fire for warmth, cooking meat, and scaring away wild predatory animals. And why others wrong? Other option are wrong. Vimvetka is renowned for a prehistoric rock shelter, an artistic painting not specific as a layer. Hunsgi was a factory site for manufacturing stone tools. Mehergarh is much younger Neolithic farming site. So that's why our answer is Kurnool Cave, and this is situated in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Question number 2. Why did hunter-gatherers of a Paleolithic period frequently move from place to place? The option is to clear land for cultivation of wheat and barley, to follow moving animals, find seasonal plants and locate water resources, to establish large permanent trade network with neighboring groups, and number D is to obtain seasonal religious gathering and festival. And our answer is Option B, to follow moving animals, find seasonal plant and locate with water resources. Why it is correct? Paleolithic humans did not practice domestic farming or animal herding. If they stay in one geographical local permanently, they would repeatedly exhaust all local wild vegetable and animal food sources, making a migratory nomadic lifestyle essential for survival. And why other wrong? Farming option like a clearing field are Neolithic innovation, and permanent trades network emerged only during urban station. That's why it's all answer are wrong, and our option number B is correct. So let's move to the question number 3. Let's see what is it. At the Neolithic site of Burzholm in present-day Kashmir, which unique practice was observed by archaeologists in its burial site? Now, option is cremating the dead and storing ashes in mass stone urns, buying domestic dog in the same grave as their master, option 3, erecting massive megalithic large stone over every family grave, and option D is burying the dead inside the wall of resident house. And our answer is option B, burying domestic dogs in the same grave as their master. Burzholm, Kashmir excavated reveals pit dwindling and unique burial pits where domestic animals, practically dogs, were interred alongside deceased humans, highlighting early domestic champions and complex ideas about an arty life. And why other are wrong? Megaliths C belong to a separate archaeological horizon found mostly in central or southern India, burning and strong as in urns. And option A is does not capture the indistinct Burzholm signature. That's why it's wrong. Question number 4. Which of the following site is considered one of the earliest Neolithic villages where people first began to grow wheat and barley and rear sheep and goat? And our answer is Mehergarh. Why it is correct? Mehergarh, located on the fertile plains near the strategic Bolan Pass's route into Iran, is dated to roughly 7000 BCE and stand as one of the earliest known sites. The transition to sedentary farming, wheat and barley, and animal husbandry. And others are wrong. Why? Harpan Paleolithic statement, Burzholm and Hulrod are younger Neolithic development. So let's move to the question number 5. Question number 5. Regarding the Great Bath found at Mohenjo-daro, which of the following statement is historically incorrect? It was lined with bricks and coated with a layer of natural tar to prevent leakage. B. There were steps leading down to it from to opposite side. C. It was continuously filled with running water from a nearby rivers via an overhead aqueduct. And there was a changing rooms located along the side of the structure. Let's see the answer. It was a continuously filled with running water from nearby river via an overhead ad- aqueduct. That's why our answer is option number C. And the Great Part did not use river connected overhead aqueduct. Instead, water was meticulously drawn into the pool from a large, specially lined brick well nearby and drained out of a brick line sewer network after institutional ritual. And why it is wrong? Statement A, B, and D are completely true. Natural tar bitumen was utilized as a waterproofing agent. Dual staircases executed and changing rooms remained the structure. Now let's move to the question number 6. In the Indus Valley civilization, which small specialized settlement was primarily a center for manufacturing craft objects including bed making, cell cutting and shell making? And our answer is option A, Chunchudaro. Why it is correct? Chunchudaro Sindh was a compact settlement of less than 5 hectares, almost exclusively geared toward complex craft production, cell walking, beard cutting, weighting system, and seal carving. Why others are wrong? Metropolises like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were large political administrative hubs that contained workshops but were not exclusively single-purpose manufacturing center. Question number 7. The Harappans procured various raw material from outside their core territory. Match the material with its correct region of origin. Option is copper Rajasthan, tin Afghanistan, gold Karnataka, precious stone Gujarat. Option B, copper Karnataka, tin in Gujarat, gold Rajasthan, precious stone Afghanistan. Option C, copper Afghanistan, tin in Karnataka and gold Gujarat, precious stone Rajasthan. And option D, copper Gujarat, tin Rajasthan and gold Afghanistan, and precious stone is Karnataka. And our option is option number A, copper in Rajasthan, tin in Afghanistan, gold in Karnataka and precious stone in Gujarat. The Harappan long distance raw material trade network brought copper from Khitri mines Rajasthan, tin used to mix with copper to force Brojan, and from Afghanistan, Iran, high grade gold from Kolar field Karnataka, and Keralian precious stone from Gujarat. Why others are wrong? Option B, C, D reverse this document geographic sourcing zone. Question number 8. Which unique feature distinguishes the Harappan city of Dholavira from other prominent cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro? And our option is the complete absence of a fortified citadel areas. Option B, the division of the city into 3 distinct parts instead of 2. Option 3, the use of sun-dried mud bricks exclusive with zero stone structure. Option D, the discovery of large shipyards connected to the open sea. And our answer is option B, the division of the city into the 3 distinct parts instead of a 2. While standard Harappan settlement are divided into an elevated west citadel and lower town, Dholavira, Khadir, Biat and Gujarat was uniquely split into 3 segments: a citadel, a middle town and a lower town, all bounded by massive stone dress fortification. And our answer is or why other options are wrong. Dholavira feature heavy stone work rather than mud bricks alone, and a dockyard structure is specific to Lothal, not Dholavira. And question number 9 is the Rig Veda, the oldest of 4 Vedas, was composed approximately how many years ago and in what Asian language? Option A, the 2500 year ago classical Sanskrit, 3005 year ago Vedic Sanskrit, 4000 year ago Prakrit, and 1500 year ago Pali. And our option is answer is 3005 years ago Vedic Sanskrit. And we will see the detailed explanation for this question. 3005 year Vedic Sanskrit. The Rig Veda contains 1028 hymn suktas honoring nature deities. It was orally transmitted for generation before being written down and was composed in Vedic Sanskrit around 1500 BCE, roughly 3005 years ago. And why other options are wrong? Pali and Prakrit are younger script vernacular popularizing during the 6th century BCE by Hadrox movement. Now let's see the question number 10. In the Vedic society, the term Sava and Samiti refer to option A, religious ceremonies performed exclusive by the Brahmin priests. Two categories of tax collected on agriculture cattle. Option 3, political assemblies and bodies that discuss governance and chose leader. And option D, specialized guilds of early metal craft worker. And which option is correct? Let's see which option is correct. Option C, political assembly and bodies that discuss governance and chose leader. And the Sabha is a small council of elite leader, while the Samiti was a wider folk assembly open to the general public. Together they advised the early travel chieftain rajas and deliberated on matter of wars, peace and resources allocation. And why other options are wrong? They were not guilds, tax item or ritual ceremonies. Now let's see the question number 11. In the early medieval period, cartographer Al-Idrisi made a famous map of the Indian subcontinent. How did his map differ from modern geographic prescription? Option A, it showed the Indian subcontinent attached directly to Africa. Option B, it flipped the layout upside down, placing South India at the top and Sri Lanka as the island at the top. Option C, it omitted the coastal line completely, focusing only on central India. And option D, it was completely written in Asian Latin script instead of Arabic. And option B is correct. It flipped the layout upside down, placing South India at the top and Sri Lanka as the island at the top. In 1154 CE, Arab geographer Al-Idrisi drew a world map where the layout of the Indian subcontinent is inverted compared to modern cartography. South India is placed at the top of the map and the island of Sri Lanka is positioned as a large land masses at the very top. And why other are wrong? It did not graft India, not Africa, and the script used was Arabic, not Latin. That's why our answer is A and D is wrong. Question number 12. During the medieval period, the term foreigner, Pradesi or Ajnabi carried a different context compared to today. How was it defined? Option A, anyone was born outside the geographical borders of the Indian subcontinent. Any stranger who was not a part of a specific village, society, culture, or economic circle. Option C, a person belonging exclusive to European trading corporation. Option D, a religious missionary traveling from Central Asian nation. And our answer is option B, any stranger who was not a part of a specific village, society, culture, or economic circle. In the medieval lexicon, a foreigner, Pradesi or Ajnabi did not mean someone from another country. It meant any individual who appeared in village unannounced and was not integrated member of the local community, craft guild, or agrarian network. Modern geopolitical boundaries did not apply to medieval social categorization. Question number 13. The tripartite struggle was a protracted medieval conflict fought over the control of the prized city of Kannauj in the fertile Gangetic valley, which three dynasties were involved. Number 1 is Chola, Cheras and Pandyas. Number B, Palas, Pratihars and Rashtrakutas. Or number C, Delhi Sultanate, Mughal and Marathas. And number D, Cholakya, Palwas and Rashtrakutas. And our answer is option number B, Palas, Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas. Why it is correct? The city of Kannauj in the Gangetic valley was symbol of political sovereignty for century. The Pallas, Eastern India, and the Gujarat Pratiharas, Western India, and the Rashtrakutas, Deccan India, fought a long war known as the tripartite struggle to control it. Question number 14. Under the Chola dynasty, large socio-economic assemblies of prominent Brahman landowners were known as Ur, Sabha, and Nagram and Naidu. And our answer is in the Chola Empire, an Ur was generally village assembly, but a Sabha was a specialized assembly consists exclusive of elite Brahmin landholder who manage temples, land and irrigation work through committees and variums. And why others are wrong? Nangram was an organization of urban traders. Naidu was a large district level territorial administrative unit. That's why it's wrong. And our answer is Sava, option B. Question number 15. Who was the founder of the Mamluk slave dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate who ascended the throne in 1206 CE? And our answer is now option C, Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak, a trusted general of Muhammad Ghori, took control of Ghori's Indian territories after his death and founded the Mamluk slave dynasty in 1206 CE, starting the Delhi Sultanate era. Why others are wrong? Iltutmish and Balban were later rulers of who consolidated the dynasty, but they were successors to Aibak. Question number 16. The Iqta system was an architectural cornerstone of Sultanate governors. What were the landholder of this Iqta called, and what were the dual density? An option is Mukti of Iqtadar to lead military campaigns and maintain law and order in their Iqtas. Option B, Mansabdar to collect custom and duties at ports and build religious school. Jamidar to cultivate royal crown lands directly and check market inflation. Option D, Samantas to perform a ritual sacrifice and guard the royal herdsmen. And our answer is option A, Muktis or Iqtadars to lead military campaigns and maintain law and order in their Iqtas. Under the Sultanate, administrative territories were divided into revenue assignment called Iqtas, and the military commander who held this land were known as the Iqtadars or Mukti or Iqtadars. Their primary duties were to lead military campaign for the Sultan and maintain law and order in their assigned region. So that's why our answer is option number A. Now let's move to the question number 17. Which Delhi Sultanate introduced strict market control and price stabilization policy, fixing price for all commodities from grains to horse? Option A, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Option B, Alauddin Khilji. Option C, Ghiyasuddin Balban. Option D, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Option B, Alauddin Khilji. To maintain a large standing army to defend against Mongols' invasion, Alauddin Khilji introduced a strict market reforms. He fixed the prices of essential goods such as grain, clothes, sugar and livestock, and punished merchants who cheated on weights. And why it is wrong? While Muhammad bin Tughlaq experimented with token currency, he did not successfully implement this market price control. That's why it's wrong. And our answer is option B. Now, question number 18. In the Mughal administrative framework, the term Jat and Sawar indicate option A, the nature of revenue assessment and the type of crop grown respectively. Option B, the military rank or social status of Mansabdar and the number of a cavalryman he was required to maintain. Option C, the name of the central finance minister and the provincial head of judicial affairs. Option D, the architectural style of a tomb and the internal design of its tomb. And option B is correct answer. The military rank and social status of Mansabdar and the number of cavalrymen he was required to maintain. In the Mughal Mansabdari system, a novel position was determined by two numbers that indicated personal rank, salary and position in the court hierarchy, while Sawar specified the exact number of cavalrymen rank he had to maintain for military service. Question number 19. The revenue system implemented during Akbar's reign based on the rigorous 10-year survey of crop yield and prices was known as number A is Zabt or Bandobast system under Todermal. B is Rotwari and number C is Mahalwari or number D is option A is correct, Jabt or Bandobast system under Todermal. Akbar Finance Minister Raja Todermal carried out a detailed survey of crop yields, prices and cultivated areas over 10 years period 1570 to 1580. Based on this data, tax was fixed in in cash for each crop. This revenue system was known as a Japt. And why it is the other option is wrong. Ratwari and Mahalwari were land revenue system introduced much later by the British East India Company. Now let's move to the question number 20. Emperor Akbar formulated the philosophy of Sulekul. What does this term mean, and where did he hold discussion that led to its formation? Option A is absolute monarchical rights discussed in the Diwane-e-Am. An universal peace and tolerance developed through debates in the Iqadat Khan at Fatehpur Sikri. Number C is Islamic jurisprudence conceptualization at the Jama Masjid of Delhi. Option D is military expansionism formulated during his battlefield campaigns in Mewar. And our option number B is correct. Universal peace and tolerance developed through the debates in the Ibadat Khana at Fatehpur Sikri. Akbar held discussion with a religious scholar including Muslim, Hindu, Christian, and Zoroastrian at the Ibadat Khana, whose house of worship at Fatehpur Sikri. This debate led him to formulate Sulle-e-Kul, universal piece of philosophy focused on the ethic, justice and religious tolerance. Thank you.